What is up, guys? Welcome back to another live stream here on the channel. We are back with another beautiful live stream. Hope you guys can hear me loud and clear. Hope the audio is working well. Guys, it is another amazing day to be alive. Why? Because the dollar is pushing up higher exactly as we wanted. Now, I want to see some respect in the chat, guys. Who is in those dollar longs with myself? I want to hear it, guys. I want to hear it. Who is in dollar longs with myself? Who is the one and only person who is going live pretty much every single day to record those daily market updates, guys, and literally explaining where the market is heading next? I mean, I should at least get an A or a 10 out of 10 for consistency, because, guys, we've been smashing these daily market updates for the past few months, and especially in the last 2 months, man, we have been so right on where the market is heading. So I'm bloody happy to see all of you. EURUSD sells, choo heading straight to TP on the TP train. We've got GU sells smashing it in towards the downside. GU did a lot of catching up in towards the downside today. And even gold, guys, even gold has been sending off in towards the upside since this morning. So overall, some fantastic price action. We're going to dive into it all, as always, and give you guys some updates on what we are expecting for the rest of this week. So make sure to leave a like here on the live stream. Again, I'm going to take around 45 minutes to maybe an hour to just update you guys on what I'm currently looking at, what positions I'm currently in. Although I must say, you guys obviously kind of know what I'm already in. I've been breaking it down pretty much every single day in the daily market outlook. Also, if you look at the title of the market outlooks, you can see pretty much as well what my overall bias obviously has been. So happy to share some more information with you. I'm just going to give everybody 1 more minute to tune in. In the meantime, I'm going to drop inside Discord a quick update about that we are currently live all together here on stream. Obviously, we need to get as many people from the Discord here on the live as well. Give everybody an opportunity to tune in, and we'll kick it off from there. So let me just quickly share it with everyone. Live now at here. Okay, so guys, first of all, what we're going to do is we're going to dive into gold first of all, and then we're going to look at EURUSD and GBPUSD, which have obviously been pretty much the 2 other cleanest pairs out there. Now I'm going to start with gold today because everybody is such a massive fan of gold, as always, and then later in the stream, if they come back, guys, to say analyze gold, we can just all tell them all together just go and check out the beginning of the stream. So let's just start with that, and then we'll dive into the rest. So gold, first of all, has obviously been trending in towards the upside. So yeah, I mean, you kind of are missing a few brain cells if you're trying to short this, because this thing is just as bullish as obviously can be. I don't think we need to kind of like really debate that. We've seen maximum of 1 bearish candlestick, maybe 2 here on 18th and 17th of September, and for the rest the thing only goes up. So don't try and sell it. The only thing that you're trying to look for is a liquidation to take place, and then we just look for another long position. So when I look at gold here, and you see it on every single time frame, both on the higher and the lower time frame, all you're pretty much looking for is for a low to get taken, and then for the upside continuation again to take place. Here again, for a low to get taken, and then for the upside continuation to take place. Again here, for lows to get taken, and then for the upside continuation to take place. Now, this exact same thing is what I'm doing pretty much every single day on the lower time frame. So what I mentioned this morning to you guys is here again on the 1 hour time frame, pretty much just underneath the bearish candlesticks, we mark out those lows as a liquidity low. So here we have a liquidity low, here we have one, here we have one, here we have one. Now, at any point in time, after liquidating one of those lows, the market can continue pushing in towards the upside. So literally all you need to do, and all your mission is just to wait for that liquidation to take place, and then to look for a change of character on the lower time frame, and then you can go long. So when we look at the 15-minute time frame, for example, here, again, I marked this out literally exactly like this in this morning's market outlook. We wait for the low to get swept, and then we just look for the change of character, and then we can look for a long position again. Now, what we see here is, again, the overall low here gets taken, then what happens? We get the 50-minute change of character, low break, high break. Then what happens? Sell before the buy becomes your area of demand, and then from that demand zone you can look to take the long position. So for now, if you're not in a gold position, you definitely missed out. There's nothing else to really say. The overall long position has now taken place, and I would be just looking to continue to long this, and then tomorrow you have the opportunity to maybe, or the day after, or maybe next week, you'll have the opportunity again to look for the reaccumulation, and then to see potential further gold longs again. But for now, the overall move has taken place from this lower area of demand already. So congratulations if you are in those longs. Now, the only way to again get into a new gold long would, for example, be here. This is now the overall, let's say, ascending lows. So this is the liquidity low. Wait for that low to get taken, look for the change of character, and then you could look for long again. But otherwise, other than that, the move has already obviously taken place. Now, guys, EURUSD and GBPUSD. Now, what an absolute clean move we have seen this week so far here from the dollar, guys. What can I say? Overall, the dollar index has obviously been continuing its overall leg up higher, as we discussed last week. Gold looks like it's good to head up higher, indeed, into around that 4K region. Now, looking at EURUSD here, or excuse me, the dollar index. What I'm looking for here is again the overall trend to simply continue, because what we've seen here so far from the dollar index is a impulsive phase in towards the highs, and now we're in the impulsive phase once again, right? So until when do we expect the overall impulsive phase to continue? And what I mean with impulsive phase is that if we look here at, let's say, a market structure trend, we have the impulse up, we have the pullback down, we have the impulse up, we have the pullback down, and now we have the impulse up. So where do you ultimately expect the overall impulse up to happen towards? And again, when we look at the overall impulsive phases that we have here within the markets, what do we then do? We look for the bumps in the road. So for example, here we had a bump in the road, that gets liquidated, head up higher again. Here we had a bump in the road, that gets liquidated, we head up higher again. Now I'm looking for the overall impulsive phase to continue. Until where? Until the break of structure line. So the dollar index still has some room just to simply continue. Obviously, if you're still looking to get into a dollar long, you're very, very late because of the fact that we're currently in the impulsive phase. So it doesn't make sense to still go long here on the dollar because at any point in time, the market could potentially provide us with a pullback. So my overall target here for the dollar index on the higher time frame, being the daily, is obviously here 99.074. Now this here is my target because it is the beginning of the overall descending highs that we have. Okay, so that for me is a major liquidity high, and I'm looking for that to get reached next on the dollar index. Now, to get there, there's a few ways, right? Because when we reach, for example, this break of structure line that we have right over here, we can expect straight away, for example, pullback to happen. Now, within the overall impulsive phase that we have over here, again, we look for little bumps in the road, which can act as liquidity. So what we, for example, have here is, let's say, this here as a liquidity low. So what could potentially happen is that the dollar index pushes up higher today, maybe tomorrow, then at the end of the week, next week, we see a retracement again. Then once we take out this bump in the road, look for a change of character, and then we can take a long position again. Or the dollar index might just continue pushing up higher. But these are kind of like the two setups that I'm now waiting for on the dollar index. Either the positions that I have already will move towards their respective take profit levels, and the dollar index will just continue pushing up higher into my potential target of 99.074. Or if we see reaccumulation happen, then just wait for the internal liquidation of this little bump in the road here, and then we can look to go long once again. But preferably that would only happen once we see a candle close above this overall swing high, because ultimately once we see a candle close above this high, that could fuel maybe a leg down again towards this bump in the road, from where I'll look for the change of character to then go for a long position once again. So those are kind of like the two things that I'm happy to look for here on overall Euro USD now, or on the dollar index, excuse me. Now when it then comes to Euro USD, obviously Euro USD is kind of like inverse to what we're looking on the dollar index, and with Euro USD I've been looking for this to continue down lower with number one, the overall daily fractal structure. So obviously here, this is my fractal high, this is my fractal low, this was here the overall supply zone, and I'm just simply looking for this overall trend to continue down lower in towards a significant low, which is, for example, this low over here, which liquidated a lot, and it's the beginning of these ascending lows. So 1, 2, 3 ascending lows. This is the very first low, so I'm looking for that low to get targeted. I'm looking for this to continue pushing down lower. Now, furthermore, also the move down on your USD is fundamentally driven by a weak euro. So what is currently going on in France? The Prime Minister has been put down or put out of his position. So overall, there's going to be new elections needed, causing overall definitely political instability within France. And France is obviously at the core of the European Union and is one of the biggest and largest economies in Europe. So if there is instability within France, it's as if there is, let's say, political instability within the United States itself for the dollar. So overall, I'm short on the euro and therefore looking for that further downside push here on EURUSD to continue in towards the downside. And then obviously we're now in the overall impulsive phase. So what do I mean by impulsive phase? Well, the impulsive phase here is, let's say, this blue zone, which I've drawn in over here. So again, what we see is an overall impulse in towards the downside. Within the overall impulsive phase, we wait for liquidity to get grabbed. Liquidity got grabbed over here. And now again, we're in the impulsive phase. And we expect the impulsive phase to continue. So this phase here, until at least at minimum, the break of structure line. So that's why for EURUSD, I'm still waiting for this to head down lower. And every single pullback within the impulsive phase is just another opportunity to look for another potential short. So every single time price pulls back, we just look for new short positions to add in towards the overall downside. So that's for EURUSD. Now what I'm looking for, just looking for this to continue pushing down lower. Obviously, it's very near the break of structure line. So getting into a short gets riskier and riskier because the risk to reward doesn't really make a lot of sense. But overall, I'm looking for EURUSD to continue selling off in towards down. So yeah, put it down like a dog. So sit down, boy. So yeah, telling EURUSD just to sit down like it should. So that's EURUSD. Then the same for GBPUSD. Krishna, I discussed gold at the beginning of the stream. So go and check out the beginning of the stream if you want to see gold. For GBPUSD has finally continued with its overall impulsive leg. Now, GU is again very similar to EU, but GU is lagging a little bit behind EURUSD in the sense that, again, what we can see is this here as the impulsive phase down with a very small pullback here. Then again, impulsive phase down with a much larger pullback here. And now again, we're in the impulsive phase. So ultimately, again, I'm looking here for GBPUSD just to continue pushing down lower as it's within a greater daily impulsive phase as well. So we're here within the overall impulsive phase, right? On the daily, we had the overall pullback phase. We come up to the massive liquidity high, take out the liquidity high, and now again, we're in the impulsive phase in towards the downside. Umamala, EURUSD, please just scroll back literally 3 minutes ago where I just discussed all of EURUSD. And we have another gold fanboy asking about gold. Guys, I literally discussed gold at the beginning of the stream, especially for you. I need some help in the chat, guys, to help new people who are joining in. But we discussed gold at the beginning of the stream. We've already discussed EURUSD. We discussed the dollar index, and now we're looking at GBPUSD. And after that, we'll go into the other pairs as well. So for GBPUSD, I'm looking now for this just to continue down lower overall. Internally, or ultimately, what we've seen here is another 4-hour fractal break in towards the downside. And we've now seen a double 4-hour fractal break. So what's happened is, again, impulsive phase down. We have here the liquidity high. Market takes out the liquidity, 4-hour change of character down, and then from this moment onwards, I have the confirmation that it should head down lower. And as we can see, it is now currently heading down lower. So we've now seen another 4-hour fractal break at well within its overall impulsive phase. So just like the blue zone here, and now it's in the blue zone here. And what you should now look to do is, if you still want to enter, then obviously you're looking at this supply zone here. So now you wait for the 4-hour candle close, and then if it were to retrace, let's say here on New York Open, then you can look for a retracement in towards that 4-hour supply zone, and then to continue shorting that in towards the downside, right? And then ultimately a good entry for myself would, for example, be here on this bump in the road. So this is the overall leg down. Here we have a little bump in the road. Wait for that bump in the road to get taken out. Then look for the 1-hour change of character, and then you could get into another short position again. So that's pretty much what you can look for here on What's Up, Andre? Hope you're doing good. That's what I would look for if you're not in GBPUSD yet for a potential skill in. And then preferably would now provide us with a strong 4-hour candle close. And then on the 1-hour time frame, if you now want to re-enter, you look, okay, this is the overall impulse down. Now, within that overall impulse down, we look for the bump in the road. Bump in the road is over here. Wait for the bump in the road to get taken out. If you still are not in a short position, look for the 1 hour change of character, and then you can get into a potential short position once again. So that's what I'm looking for there on GBPUSD. Obviously, I would prefer for GBPUSD just to sell off in towards the ground straight away like an absolute rocket and just start selling. But if it does retrace for those who are not in, then obviously happy for you. But that would be a potential thing to happen on GU. So yeah, for me, GU, well, a good old sell. Now let's dive into those other pairs, guys, that you want analyzed and see what the potential opportunities are there. Now some pairs are just not good to analyze just for information, so it doesn't really make any sense to look at them. They're just not tradable. But I know that GA has the potential to sell off, although it is very consolidative at the moment. I'm still looking for this to sell off a little bit down lower. We're very near the overall yearly open. We're inside the daily order flow. So here, the daily buy for the sell here, which is currently in control. And I'm looking for this to potentially continue to tank down lower. Again, you can, however, see the monthly and the 3 monthly open here acting as a key level of support. Again, very interesting to see. Always that the opens indicator does very well. But it makes sense for me to continue selling off this thing. It just needs to break this and then move towards that yearly open, from where I'll be happy to look for a potential pullback trade there on GBPUSD. So that's what I'm looking for GA, at least also for this low here to get taken before any real substantial reversal in towards the highs. I see someone asking about USD/JPY, guys. Like UJ, it's like the thing is about UJ, like what in the name of hell are you looking for on USD/JPY? Like the thing has already just made a massive move in towards the highs. Like UJ was interesting when we discussed it, when it was trading within this overall demand zone here. So the interesting level to get in is obviously when the market was consolidating here, and you draw in the overall range trading tool pretty much like this. Then we go to range trading, and then let's say we go back down a time frame to the 4 hour, and let's say we make this line overall thicker, right? So overall, this was an interesting area to get into potential buys, especially here, 4 hour change of character. This was the first long to take, and the second long was from this demand zone, let's say up. But now USD/JPY is trading here. So the thing is as bullish as you've ever seen in your life. So what are you ultimately trying to do? Like, are you looking to short it? What are you trying to do? So there's zero trades on USD/JPY at the moment. The only trade that you could take is, for example, if we see a strong liquidation event where we take out equal lows, get the 1 hour change of character, and then maybe you could look for long again. But obviously that would take some time. Yeah, I know there is a gap, guys. I know there is a gap. Calm down. Anthony, don't worry. There is a gap, yes. But again, not all gaps get straight away filled. So GPCHF, yeah, so GPCHF, I'm relatively bearish on that, in the sense that, again, it is ultimately still bearish, right? So the overall immediate trend is in towards the downside. I discussed this last week as well, where we pretty much had this area of supply. So what you have here is a rally up, a basing structure sideways, and then a rally or drop downwards. That's then kind of like your supply zone. The market pretty much kind of like came into that region of supply, but moreover, it came in towards this liquidity high here. Now, I'm not sure if you guys remember this liquidity high from last stream that we discussed, but again, what you have here is pretty much just the beginning of an overall descending trend line. Now, the market comes exactly back up to take that out, and then it just sells off again. So for G-Swiss, I'm just looking for downside continuation. If this 4 hour candle closes below the 3 monthly and the monthly level, that would mean a strong area of supply here, and I would just look for downside continuation on G-Swiss. So yeah, for me, it's just too bearish to look for longs. NZD USD, AUD/USD is not very interesting at the moment. I think NZD USD is a little bit more interesting, where NZD USD, and I'll break this down again for kind of like from an empty chart. What you can see here is an overall very, very clear downtrend, okay? Long Euro USD from 1.1650. I need to see that. 1.1650. Not fully sure if I agree with you there. Let's go back to NZD USD. So when it comes to NZD USD, overall, we're obviously in a very clear downtrend, right? So what's happening here is that you're forming high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, and now you're just waiting for the next lower high to be formed to then again look for potential short position. So when we then look at the 4-hour time frame, it becomes a lot more clear where we have impulsive phases and pullback phases. So here we have an impulse in towards the downside. So this is your overall impulsive phase down. Then again, what we have here is an impulsive phase in towards the downside. And then again, here we have an impulsive phase in towards the downside. Now, the overall aim of the game is that we get in on the overall lower high, right? That's the overall game. Now, every single time a lower high is established, as we can see over here, so lower high here, lower high here, lower high here. Like, when does a lower high tend to form? And let me just give you guys another kind of like impulse in towards the downside. Now, a lower high tends to form when we take out a so-called bump in the road. So all you're actually looking for is for the market to take out a little bump in the road, which takes place within the overall push down. Happy birthday, Sujoy. So when we have the overall impulse down, look for this little bump in the road, look for that to get taken out, and then the sell-off will happen likely, right? So here again, little bumps in the road, those get taken out, and then the overall sell-off in towards the downside happens. Again, bump in the road gets taken out, and then the overall sell-off in towards the downside happens. So all you're simply doing again is within the overall impulse is you're looking for little bumps in the road. So where do bumps in the road take place here on NZD USD? Well, here we have a very clear one. And then, for example, if we look for another one, here we, for example, have one. So all I'm simply doing here is I'm just waiting for the market to react to my bump in the road, to react to my liquidity high, and then for the overall continuation to take place. So now on NZD USD, for example, we've seen a very clear little uptrend here, right? So demand flow was bullish, but now what the market is starting to do is it's starting to slow down in the sense that break, retrace, break, retrace. So what you now want to see is this low here go, and then once that low goes, then you can look to trade kind of like the next impulsive phase, potentially here on NZD USD in towards the downside. Now, it's always going to be high probability when you obviously retrace at least into premium pricing. So we can see that we're still very low. We haven't yet hit the 0.5 fib. So for example, this bump in the road here would be better to get taken out to then look for a short position. But if the momentum is high and the dollar index is ready, NZD USD could definitely already start to sell off in towards the lows. Short USD JPY seems a little bit like a gamble, Junior. Seems a little bit like a gamble. GU is reacting from an old 1-hour demand that broke structure. Let's see. For me, GU is reacting to these equal lows here. Over here. So we have some equal lows right over here. That's what it's currently reacting to. But what I'm ultimately just going to look for is, again, still for the downside continuation to take place, as I still see GU as bearish until we break this high. So if we break this high, then we could look for long again. But otherwise, until then, I'm just looking for downside continuation. Yeah, so USD CAD is a little bit of a tricky one. Overall, USD CAD makes more sense to look for longs, obviously, as long as the dollar index remains bullish. So for USD CAD, I'm still looking for an upside push. The Canadian dollar has been relatively strong today. I'm at least looking for 1.40165 to get hit, which is a massive, massive liquidity high. Overall, if you look at USD CAD, doesn't matter how you look at it, but if we would, let's say that this is the impulse down, then this here is a clear bump in the road. This, for example, here is a clear bump in the road. So there's liquidity above this high and above this high. So ultimately, I'm just looking for it to push up higher before looking for example, for a pullback trade. So I do see in the near future maybe there to be a USD CAD pullback trade, but then I would like this overall kind of like channel to mature, where we have a one high, a second high, and I'm now looking for the third high to form, and then, for example, for a sell-off to occur. But I'm definitely still looking for a long here on USD CAD to take place. So yeah, let's see if that happens. But yeah, for USD CAD, I would say like this here is an interesting low. Maybe take out that low and then look for another long position if you see a 4-hour change of character after that. That would potentially be an interesting position. USD CHF, also looking for longs still, but it's very consolidative. Here on the daily time frame, the daily is still fractal bullish. So ultimately what's happened here is liquidation of this low, V-shape reversal up, and then we have a demand chain. So it makes sense to look for longs from this demand zone up. I would only be looking for shorts once this low here breaks. Otherwise, until then, looking for long still, and then maybe this supply zone could push the market down lower, but then would need to provide you with a change of character or a change in order flow to then look for shorts. Let's see. Good night, Manny. See you later, brother. Let's have a look. So NZD CAD. I see a lot of NZD CAD charts indeed. Let's have a look at that one. Yeah, so NZD CAD is a good one. I see where you are coming from. So when it comes to NZD CAD, what we have here on the daily time frame, so we're already on the daily time frame. So what comes here on the daily time frame is you've liquidated this high here. So again, let me just look at the 4 hour. Yeah, so on the 4 hour time frame, ultimately what's happened here is you've pretty much broken market structure down. Now, I would then view this here as your overall impulse in towards the lows. Within that overall impulse, we identify the bump in the road. This here is the main liquidity high, this blue dotted line. Here we have a supply zone. It's come in towards that supply zone with a 1 high, a 2nd high, and a 3rd high, and it's now broken down. Yeah, this looks good to continue selling off. This is a very nice one fuzzle. I'd be looking at the same, man. Quick drink break. That would be a nice one, guys. But yeah, I agree with that one. SMT and EU and DXY. Oh no, guys, we have another person talking about SMT. I really don't care about SMT. I really don't care about SMT, but could be. Whatever it may mean. No need to overcomplicate trading, guys. It's really, really, really better if you keep it nice and simple. GCAD, not a very interesting pair to trade at the moment. Still relatively bullish. Doesn't make sense to look for shorts. It's squeezing though. It's squeezing. It's squeezing in towards the highs. Still has a high open. Should provide you with another push up, but not a very nice position to take. If you say SMT, you have negative IQ. Yeah, I guess so. 80 USD. Let's have a look. Yeah, 80 USD selling off still. Yeah, 80 USD is consolidating and stuck. Not a pair that I'm looking to actively trade at the moment. It's 80 is still very strong. So if you hit 99.074, you're done for the month. Yes. Although once your USD already hits the low, I would also pretty much be done already if it hits the blue odd line. But yeah, let's see. Fabio, who teach you trading because it's real work? Well, if you understand, or what you need to understand is, I've been looking at the charts for over 5 years every single day here, just trading the exact same pairs. So I can kind of like dream them in a way where I just align with them. And then what you see that I use is just really kind of like very common concepts that everybody uses here on YouTube. Okay, we'll have a look at your AUD. Colin, you've been spamming your AUD. So your AUD is a bit of a... Yeah, your AUD. I mean, the thing with your AUD is that the Australian dollar is relatively strong. At the moment, just follow the order flow down lower. I know I would... traditionally I would be saying look for longs, but in the short term there should still be potential for it to push towards these equal lows here. Maybe a little bit more of a short still. Thanks, Kenneth. Luca, I've already talked about GU shorts. If you scroll back just a little bit, your USD looks stuck. Yeah, should gain some momentum in the near future. JPY, what can I say? Like, I don't like trading pairs that have already made a massive move. You're late to the party, so it's better just to focus on something that still has to move, or that is still moving. Yeah, Ethereum looks good to break up higher. I see it's pushing now, very strong, fantastic stuff. I bloody love it. Let me just check my own positions in the meantime. Very good. Fantastic. Okay, so yeah, USD Swiss already discussed our up. Aussie yen is looking good for shorts. Could be. But again, like, I don't like calling the top. We already discussed Aussie yen was bullish. And when we're in a bullish market, I like looking for longs only. So I would like to look for some shorts in the near future, indeed, for maybe a pullback trade. It came above this massive liquidity high over here. But the thing is, the Australian dollar is very strong at the moment. So I would really prefer to look at, if you're then looking for short, maybe an NZD JPY short. I remember somebody talking about NZD JPY longs in the last stream after taking this low and then giving the 4-hour change of character. Congratulations to that person. Has it gotten cold in Amsterdam? Yes, it is absolutely freezing in Amsterdam, guys. It's very, very, very cold here in Amsterdam. Guys, the chat is making my head blow up, man. The GB Swiss we already discussed. 80 Swiss. Come on, guys. Give me a better pair than an 80 Swiss, man. Like, if you like trading this, then really, I think you need a little bit of help, brother. Because for me, this is just barcode price action. But, I mean, looking at this, you've taken out this liquidity high here. So it makes more sense to look for short again to take out these lows here. So, yeah, I'm favoring a short on 80 CHF. Legend Fire. We discussed dollar index at the beginning. I'm looking for longs still. I want the dollar to push towards this black line here. Yeah, we'll do a Discord session, guys. I like Discord sessions, to be honest, more than YouTube, but none of you really turn up for the Discord sessions, man. We're always with a lot more people here. I'm not in the UK at the moment. Sorry, I'm in Amsterdam. So yeah, I mean, overall, the new positions that I'm looking for could be like a GBPUSD short. Once we come up a little bit higher, looking here at the 1 hour time frame, for me, this would be a nice area to look for shorts if we could get some confirmation on the lower time frame. I'm looking for that. Yeah, I'm planning to go abroad for the winter, but I'm looking to go to Brazil in December. Fabio, where are the tutorial links in the Discord? If you go to the resources channel, you can find a lot inside there. German 40. Let's have a look at German 40, guys. So German 40 is bullish still. Still looking for this to head up higher. I could be wrong, but for me, it's currently in the impulsive phase. So we had the impulsive phase in towards the upside here, and now we're in the impulsive phase once again. So until when do you expect the impulsive phase to continue? Until the break of structure. So it doesn't make sense to look for any short positions yet. So it makes sense to only look for longs within the impulsive phase and then look for liquidations. So when looking here at German 40, it's liquidated these lows here. And then obviously you're kind of like waiting for the market structure to shift. Shifted here, makes sense to look for longs, but consolidated price action overall. Could still head down a little bit lower, but I'm overall looking for longs on German 40. For me, longs only. You ever been to Thailand? Fabio, yes. I've been to Chiang Mai, I've been to Bangkok, and I've been to Phuket. Yeah, we've already talked about gold, guys. Can you please tell us a little bit more about the story on how you started FX trading? Would anybody be interested, guys, in me talking a little bit more about my story, or you only want to hear the technicals? We can do, let me see. Yeah, I can still do some talks on some back testing or on some technicals. If you want, I can go over the fractals. Yeah, guys, let me think. Where shall I start? I see a lot of you are interested. Where do I start? EMC to bomb, open up a ticket, and then I'll tag tag me in the general chat, and then I'll tag the I'll tag the resources channel for you. Yeah, guys. So let me talk a little bit more about how I started to trade, man. So it's all the way back, kind of like in 2017, where somebody in my family told me, Fabio, you should be looking at Bitcoin. So when he told me look into Bitcoin, I started looking at TradingView and looking at charts, and I started to do like technical analysis, and I literally had no idea what I was doing. At the time, there was this very, very large English group on Instagram. I'm not sure, maybe some of you know them. They're called AstroFX. They don't exist anymore because it was one massive big scam. That's pretty much everything in this space. But I was looking to learn to trade with them. Not sure if you know them. Sean Lee is the name, and the other guy, his name is like Aman something, an Indian English guy, and then we have like the British guy itself. That was one big scam. Luckily, never learned too much from them. But yeah, I also see the Alpha Capital podcast that I'm on. But pretty much that's where it started, guys. Looked into technical analysis and tried to learn from them. But ultimately understood that a lot of what they were doing was just really kind of like BS. Then in 2019, I started learning on YouTube by just watching very simple videos, to be very honest. And there were a lot of communities out there. There was this community called FX or something. They had a lot of videos and resources, but I was like mainly active in Telegram groups, and in these Telegram groups you always had like these guys share like these massive Google Drive links where you could find all of these courses for free. So what I did is I just watched all of those courses for free, and then I started understanding that there's so many different strategies. All I started to do was just kind of like understand, okay, I need maybe kind of like 4 basic elements to build a strategy, and I'll start trading like that. So instead of kind of like following one specific course or paying one certain person or guy for a mentorship, what I just did is I just watched all of these different free courses and then derived kind of like information that I found useful and that I had shown on the charts before. So by doing that, I kind of learned price patterns together with market structure and supply and demand. So what I then kind of like found is that, hey, this guy was good in explaining supply and demand. This guy was good in explaining Fibonacci. This guy was good at explaining, let's say, moving averages. And kind of like by doing so, I started to build a strategy. However, I didn't really find any real success with that strategy until, or let me put it that way, because I was kind of like caught up in just the back testing of it all. So I was just back testing for endless hours and hours and hours. And I'll be able to find those sheets one day. I'll do like a massive live session. Thanks HXB TV. Appreciate it massively, man. So what I'll do is at one time I'll create kind of like a presentation more in depth with like a lot of pictures about my journey. But the thing that I did at the time was that I just really kind of like combined all those different Telegram kind of like resources together, and then that's how I built my own strategy. And then I just kept on watching these YouTube videos from different YouTubers to form and build my own strategy. Well, eventually I had my own strategy. Like I said, no real success until I pretty much found one kind of like mechanical entry model, which was kind of like a double top entry model or a double bottom entry model, where I was looking for a retracement, and it's kind of like looks like this here, where you see, let's say this here as the Fibonacci retracement, and then what happens is that this is, let's say, the fib level I want to enter on, and I just waited for liquidation of the first low, and then I would enter on the bullish confirmation of the second low to then take the actual long position. So once I saw that that actually started to work, I found some real success. Now, after using that for some time with success by just trading, again, supply and demand, I used the Fibonacci and I used the market structure, and then I used that double entry or double bottom entry model, which is ultimately just kind of like liquidation of the early buyers. That was kind of like the ultimate kind of like, yeah, back at the time, what I found that worked for me. I found that I had something that started to work. So with that, I started to pass my fast prop firm challenge. And again, this took me like really like 2 or 3 or 4 years. Well, let's say around 2.5 years to really get some success with it. And then what I decided to do after passing like I passed my first prop firm challenge, is I started the YouTube channel, guys, back in 2021. And then in 2021, what I decided to do is, hey, every single day, what I'm going to start doing is I'm just going to record myself here on YouTube and say what I'm looking for in the markets and what I want to see. And when I started doing that, I started speaking to existence what I wanted to see from the markets. And initially, I didn't have like massive success with it, but because I was showing up every single day and I was very consistent, guys, and obviously I'm still very consistent, but this is what ultimately has helped me the most in my trading journey is I was active every single day, just sharing what I was looking for within the markets, not even kind of like talking necessarily about positions whatsoever, but just really talking about what I wanted to see. And you can even go back to my very first daily market outlook. You'll see I traded a little bit differently from how I trade today. But by doing so every single day and by being active and by kind of like talking about the markets, I started seeing certain patterns. And that's how my approach to trading then also evolved over time to where it is now at the moment. And that also helped me understand that, hey, I should really, thanks so much, Saleh. Saleh, I really appreciate, man, means the world. But then I understood, hey, I should just focus on only trading the dollar pairs, and that's when I really started seeing success. So only trading the major dollar pairs and then just showing up every single day, trading the exact same strategy and the exact same approach. And that's where I am now, just trading the same strategy, which I've kind of like acquired through just being active in communities and inside Telegram groups, looking at free courses which were put online, because at the end of the day, all the information you can find online, and also the information that I share, is obviously all information that I also just share on my YouTube channel. The only difference is that when you have like a mentorship or you work one-on-one with myself or with, let's say, the team, is that you receive much more in-depth guidance and you can make the journey go from what, for example, took me 3-4 years to a journey that only takes around 6 months. And then you have to ask yourself, hey, what is that worth to you? Now, at the time when I was kind of like starting out with trading, I didn't have someone like myself on YouTube, which was someone that I trusted and someone that I knew what he was talking about. You only had people who just shared some educational videos every now and then, right? You didn't have someone who did like a daily market outlook every single day. So that's why I love doing it so much, because I know that if I had someone like me who does what I do every single day, I could have like accelerated my journey so much more. So that's really how kind of like I accelerated my overall trading journey, man. And at the end of the day, it kind of comes back to the thing that everything works and you can find all the information online. And again, I also don't claim like that I made up shit or whatever. Like everything I use nowadays, I just found it online and I kind of like made it my own. Obviously that's the case, but yeah, I mean, the only way you're really going to learn is by being active and by being in the market and by analyzing and speaking into existence what you want to see. So a lot of people say lock yourself up, look into the course and come back like 6 months later. But for me, what helped me much more was being active every single day. For example, through a YouTube video, or for example, through a Discord server where I share every single day my market updates, and then hear from you guys, hey, Fabio, I'm looking for this, or hey, Fabio, I'm looking for that. And that ultimately changed my trading for the better, like so much more. So I always tell you guys to kind of like, one, keep it very simple, because again, I know traders who are profitable with supply and demand. I know traders who are profitable with just support and resistance, and then just do the same thing over and over again. Well, I'll create a much more in-depth story, but this is kind of like a short version of the story, because if I tell the real story, like it's going to take a lot longer. Do you have any goals regarding cars or watches that you would like to own? I've already owned my dream car. Well, kind of like my semi-dream car. I already own my dream watch. I don't share too much about it online because I like to keep my life relatively private. But everybody always has a feeling that they know me by watching the YouTube market outlook. But you obviously only see like 10 or 15 minutes of my day. Most people don't really know the real Fabio or the real me, right? I kind of did show you guys a bit more about myself through a vlog, but I don't really like sharing kind of like the monetary side of things, about watches, about cars, about lifestyle, because that's not really going to benefit you guys. It's only going to attract kind of like the wrong audience. I want people who are interested in really in the trading, right? That's the kind of audience that I want to attract. And I feel like everybody in here in this live stream is also kind of like who wants to genuinely learn about the trading. Yeah, the dream car is definitely the Porsche 911 GT3 RS. I had a Porsche 911 GTS, but that one is gone when I moved back to Europe. You don't talk about the mentorship you give. Can you tell us more where we can get the mentorship in detail? Yeah, so there's a link here in the top of the description of the video of the live stream. It's called yt.thetrainingacademy.com. You can apply there. What I do pretty much just in the mentorship is give you guys a little bit more information about the strategy itself, in the sense that I go more in depth into why I take certain positions and why I trade in a certain way. And we have a daily live session there. So the whole team is just giving live sessions. Pretty much, I think we have 7 live sessions a week, Monday to Saturday, if I'm not mistaken, where we just talk about what positions we are in, what positions we took for the week. And I, for example, share my MetaTrader 5 screenshots explaining exactly what positions I'm in. So by doing and following and attending those kind of sessions, you're just going to accelerate your journey so much more, because you're going to have the opportunity to kind of like really be one-on-one with myself and with the entire TTA team, who share those daily market updates on a daily basis. So I always say, like, you don't need like the in-depth information, but you need the actual guidance from those sessions to just accelerate your overall journey. Because again, otherwise, what I mentioned earlier, you can do it yourself, but you're just going to spend like 2 or 3 years. So it's up to you. Do you have another 2 or 3 years of time, or do you want to be where you want to be within the next 6 months? Because what is that worth to you, right? To me, being funded and making a full-time income within 6 months is worth a lot of money, as opposed to waiting for another 2 or 3 years. Thomas, Jordan Belfort is gone for good. Let me see. What's your opinion on TGR? I've seen videos on the TGR, the American guy who trades NASDAQ. I think he's a very, very cool guy from what I've seen. He's a funny character, but I think he's very good at what he does, and that's being a very funny character, and it attracts a certain audience. But yeah, obviously the kind of like content that I make is just educational content, and that's the kind of audience that I attract, all of you. So all of you are interested in the kind of content that we discuss, right? So the actual trading content, and not in doing, let's say, funny dances in front of a camera to get views. That's not really who I am, and doesn't really align kind of like with my personality. But if it aligns with his personality, then yeah, good for him, right? Just do what you kind of like love doing. Let me see. How many hours a day do you spend on the charts? I would say around 2 hours. What's your ultimate goal in trading, Fabio? So for me, I need a team of around like 20 traders, and then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do like, and I haven't really talked about it too much, but I'm looking to kind of do more kind of like currency consultancy. So I have a lot of high value clients that just want me to tell them, where's your USD going to be heading next in the next 6 months. So I just tell them, for example, your USD is now trading at 1.20. It's going to go back down to 105. And then they can save a lot of money by changing or exchanging their euros into dollars when your USD is trading at 1.20. And then if Euro USD is expected to go to 1.05, I tell them, okay, change your dollars into euros, and then they make 15%. But if you have like, let's say $10,000, it's not a lot of money. But if you have, let's say $15 million, then it's going to be obviously a lot more money that they can then save. And then I want to do that together with a team of traders that I've kind of like educated myself. Photon trading, yeah, photon trading is very valuable. There's also they have a free YouTube channel, very good content on there. What do you do in your spare time away from the charts in daily context? To be honest, I just go to the gym. I play tennis, I play paddle, and I love cooking Asian food, man. I just absolutely love Asian food. There's I just love Indonesian food especially, and Suriname food, and I love Thai food as well. I had pad Thai yesterday. There's this Thai place in Amsterdam called Birds. It's a very, very good place, and I love pad Thai chicken, man. It's my absolute favorite. And I love gyoza, chicken gyoza. Talking about food now. I can get some food, man. Where's Rutger? Rutger has meetings now. Yeah, guys, I mean, you're always welcome to drop by the office here in Amsterdam if you're in Amsterdam. I mean, just send me a message on Discord if you're in Amsterdam, and feel free to come by. Fabio, Battlefield 6. Yeah, Battlefield 6 is coming out soon. That's also a game I want to play soon, man. Asian food is indeed the best. Fabio, can you actually live from 100k account? You can, but it's hard. I think it's hard to live from 100k account, because ultimately all you want to do is kind of like go for a 2k payout a week or a month, 2% payout for a month. So you kind of need like at least, let's say, 500k accounts to really live comfortably. Thanks, Isaac. Appreciate. Fabio, question: Do you run yourself as a business? How do you structure this, if so? Not sure what you mean. Do you run yourself as a business, Jay? Amsterdam is indeed very windy. Can you tell me about the open indicator? Yeah. So when it comes to the opens indicator, you want to be looking at the yearly open and at the free monthly and the monthly open, and these are just key levels of support and resistance. Are you a gamer? I wouldn't say I'm a gamer, but I like video games, man. I definitely like, or preferably like, Battlefield, and I play a little bit of Call of Duty, but I'm not very good at it. Well, gold has hit a new high, guys, so congrats if you were in those longs. Self-employed? Yes, I'm self-employed because I'm a trader. What's your strategy called? I just call it the FTB strategy. What about a girlfriend? Some things I like to keep personal, AD. Tell us the best time frame. Definitely the 4 hour. Fabio, will you visit south of Spain like Malaga or Alicante? Yes. Fabio, a lot of bots. Yeah, there's so many bots inside Discord, guys. Sorry about that. Not too much that I can do about it, sadly. Discord is just really for bots, man. It's crazy. Yeah, you can turn off DMs. Fabio, do you only trade the London or US session? Yeah, pretty much. But I just swing trade, right? So I don't look too much specifically at sessions. But obviously, I want to kind of like see volume come into the New York session. Fabio's married to EURUSD, that's for sure. But if you guys are interested, I can create it like a presentation again, kind of like more in detail, a little bit more about my life. I feel like it's going to be a long story if I really tell you guys a bit more about myself. Because again, like, you guys don't really know kind of like my story. I kind of like gave you a little bit of an insight, but it's really just half of it, because there's been a whole period in between where I kind of like stopped trading partially. I did kind of like crypto as well, but I had issues, a lot of personal issues, a lot of financial issues. I couldn't leave certain countries. I went to Africa, I went to Uganda, Kenya, Bangladesh. I've seen it all. But that's for another time. Fabio, do you do spread betting? No. What university have you finished? I did business administration at the University of Rotterdam, the Erasmus University. Heerenveen. Last time I was in Heerenveen was a couple of years ago, man. Fabio, how many trades should I have in a typical month as a day trader on the 4 hour? Sometimes I have 10 to 15 trades a month. Sometimes I have 2. Yeah, that's perfectly normal. George, no, I have not been arrested before. Well, kind of like arrested in Portugal for driving on a line that I was not allowed to cross. Let's just put it that way. Why Thomas' channel in Discord disappeared? Because Thomas is doing e-commerce together with trading, but he doesn't have the time to update you guys too much. Arsenal are top of the league indeed. Yeah, guys, thanks for joining this one. Again, I'll focus on creating a personal session about myself. And let's see if GU maybe gives an entry on providing a pullback. If we come up to these equal highs, I'll look for a new position on GU. So yeah, thanks for joining. Not too much positions to really kind of like take at the moment. We need to kind of like see some redevelopment. But I'll update you guys when that happens. And yeah, keep you guys posted, and we'll speak very, very soon. Thanks for joining, guys, and yeah.